Hello, Warriors. We're almost at the finish line. How you doing, Alexander, Sinatra, Mary, Brand, Mike? All my trading warriors and brothers and sisters. Okay, let's take a look around. I wanted to start off with the Aussie here. You guys see my screen?
Yes, we can. Good morning, Dale.
Oh, hi, man. Hope you're having a good break.
Yeah. It was perfect. Kids around and everything. So yeah, it was very good. Thank you.
Cool. So Euro stronger with cable and Aussie bringing up the lead. If there's another leg up in the dollar, to me, 65.5 looks viable, which would speak to maybe the risk off isn't over with. It's hard for me to get constructive the market with this going on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I talked about the breakdown here at 140, and then I showed this big picture at 130 for Apple. That's a pretty big breakdown day yesterday. So until we close back over 130, it's hard for me to get constructive on the market. Greg, it could be right next year, but so far I just don't see a reason to want to get long here yet. Although we could have a bounce, but go ahead.
No. I'm just picking in on what you're saying. The thing is, we've had this kind of warning. I don't recall exactly which bank it was, or a couple of them, saying that there was it was possible that into year end there was quite a bit of equity selling to be done. And I've watched it from a distance, and then yes, I've seen the Apple, I've seen what is it, Tesla, I've seen and then on the other hand, seen the yields fly, and it all seems to be, to me at least from a distance where I sat, very much like year-end cleaning of the books, and
that could be.
I'd like to be next week to see how these things will react into next week. If they don't bounce, then it's bad news, I guess.
Yeah, and even some of the leaders like Deere seem to be rolling over, and one of the stocks of the year because of agriculture has been CAT, and CAT looks vulnerable here, maybe peaking. So we'll see. I'd like a rally to sell into.
Yeah.
And, we'll see what happens there. Dixie, I don't know. Every day it seems like, well, yeah, maybe we'll get a rally towards 107, or maybe we have to flush one more time to 102. Tough call for me.
Yeah, especially again before tomorrow evening or before next week. I'm trying not to make too many judgments on what's happening. But the one thing that we spoke about right after the ECB as well is that I was expecting the euro to end the year on a positive note, and that seems to be materializing. If we look across the spectrum, euro dollar is holding up despite cable, which is four big figures of its lows, dollar yen 3 big figures of its cable of its highs, dollar yen 3 big figures of its lows, and the euro is still hanging in. So I guess until at least tomorrow. So I'm still expecting the euro crosses to hang in there and to be pretty well beat versus the majors and let's say the G11. I'm not talking about emerging markets in this case. Just against the rest. It looks to be the case. So I'm still expecting it to last until tomorrow, and then see what happens into the new year. It's not your typical new year end of year stuff, because I think it's also due to all the central banks starting to hike this year. So we don't have your typical high overload of liquidity Santa rally, but it comes in a completely different context. So that's why I think we see these markets a bit dislocated for now. And
Yeah,
really,
it's the opposite, more of a scramble of
uh-huh.
for liquidity than what to do with all that extra cash.
Yeah, but we will see the start of next year, right?
Yeah, hopefully we'll all be here Monday, Kay. So Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yeah. So also, you know, a lot is happening in China, and crude peaked right
Yeah,
at
it's
this 50-day here.
yeah, they're trying. I've also been reading stuff. They're trying to reopen and everything, but it's all going.
Oh, they have a huge you know, they have a huge wave going on. I
Yeah,
don't know how they're going to
it's
control
incredible.
it.
I'm not sure whether it's I can yet be positive on the Chinese reopening. And as I was saying on the last flow show, one of my big questions for 2023 is if and when we will see the grand reopening, because that's going to drive markets. But I'm not seeing it happen in the really near future, because even if they try to reopen, they've got this huge wave, which is not supportive for the economy, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
could you
hey,
have
good morning.
imagined? Hey, Blake, could you have imagined in, you know, the first wave, what was it, March or February 2020, that it would still be a major story in the markets 3 years later?
Yeah, no. The answer to that question is no. And good morning, welcome back,
Good morning,
Kman.
buddy.
I hope you had a happy holiday. And good morning, Dale. You know, this is the conversation we were having. I believe it was Monday. Neither one of you guys were here, because Dale, you know, your power was out.
Oh yeah, my internet. Yeah,
your internet, and we were discussing this, and that's like one of my big fears too, Kman, because look, they may say, you know, hey, we're reopening and, you know, zero COVID policy, but I don't know about what's happening over there in the UK, but in the US, COVID is ripping through families like left and right over here. I mean, my the whole reason why I didn't see my sister, my mom, you know, through the holidays is because both those families had COVID. And you know, I just talked to a lot of families because, you know, my kids have sports teams. So we discuss a lot with a lot of the other families around, and COVID is really, really, you know, making its way around now. And no one really cares a whole lot around here, but that's not the point. The point is, how's China going to respond to that when they open up a little bit and, you know, COVID goes crazy, which I'm assuming it will, because that's what's happened over here, right? So
it is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so that's where I'm fearful, like you're saying, Kman. I do believe that you know, China is going to go, hey, wait a second, you know, you know, what happens there? What's the after effects? I don't know. It's just,
plus they have different variants in different parts of the country, which may complicate it too.
And their Sinovac is with us, right?
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So next year is going to be a really interesting year, I think, for the markets for sure.
And I think
anyway, like I said, welcome back.
My word for 2023 is still volatility. I think it's going to be volatile.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Should I buy the VIX here? It's the most undervalued instrument out there.
Well, the problem is, how do you buy it? What instrument?
Yeah, that is the problem.
The instruments you have a contango, and you know, nothing happens, you lose money.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, not only that, the instruments all have decay, Stel.
Exactly.
Good to hear your voice. And
hello, morning.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, I looked at this one, okay, and I actually bought it and said, you know, VIX was up sharply and it didn't do anything. So let me just warn you about these things, because I've lost a lot of money on these VIX products before. You know, if it didn't have decay, so you had the VIX up and this one down. You could have the VIX up, you know, 5% and this one unchanged. So it still looks good. I wouldn't be short, that's for sure. So I'm thinking maybe just go with some calls. And you know, if you're going to have the decay anyway, you might as well have the leverage. You
Yeah.
know what
There
I
you
mean?
go. That's
So-
that's a good way to look at it.
Anyway, what about metals here, Stel, since we have you? It looked like silver was having its was set up for a wily coyote moment. It's hanging right here, and
Yeah.
it's recovered. Are we going to push to new highs early next week?
I think, as I said yesterday, I think Santa Claus exists, and I think this kind of force is going to and going into year end. You know, the Santa Claus rally that we all
Yeah.
talk about. I think it's going to probably avoid this Wile E. Coyote moment, but I think it's probably
Yeah.
coming early January. I think it's coming. So I'm not convinced yet. I'm very bullish. You know this.
Yeah.
Still have half my long from quite a bit below, so I'm not too unhappy about that. But you know, the other half, which I took off at just under 24, I really am looking for 22.20 to 22.40 to reload. And I think it's coming because I do think that yields are going to creep up early next year. Dollar's probably going to creep up. Risk gets sold. And you know what happens when all that is the case, metals get whacked. So I wait for that. Having said that, if we do have a daily close above 24.30, which is, you know, we take out the previous high, and that's going to make me bullish. And depending on how everything else is going, I think I'm probably going to get that long back in. But we do have China, which is telling us that they're reopening. So that's theoretically bullish for commodities in general. So, but you know, like many people say, you know, you can't trust everything they tell us, and you know, we take everything with a pinch of salt. So for the moment, I think that as I've said before, going into year end, I don't trust any move really. Just try to relax and enjoy the days, and we see from the 2nd of January onwards.
Hey, Blake, I was going to ask you about Loonie. It held a pretty important area yesterday. What are you thinking?
You know, well, you know, here's the thing. Yes, I agree. Here, do you mind if I take over the charts here?
I never.
By the way, I was looking at Tesla. Finally, it looks like it might catch a bid here today. By the way, we hit the 78% retracement, or really close to. Pretty oversold. Anyway, I want to go to the dollar CAD as you're talking, or as you're asking. The risk I feel about the dollar Canadian here is that we're pushing into new lows. Well, first of all, you can see how we've held the triangle breakout. There's an ascending trend line that might come into play, and my fear here is that because we're making lower lows, we might continue to make lower lows and lower highs. So I think the upside is kind of limited. But if the market rallies over the next 2 days, and by the way, I think it is going to rally over the next 2 days, then the result of that in currencies would probably be a lower dollar, and that dollar CAD might come back down here. I can't really be bearish, but I don't necessarily want to be super bullish right at this very second either.
No man's land.
Yeah, it kind of is. But I want to take you back over to the S&P. You know, we were talking about the diamond pattern yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, it still held the diamond. I was thinking about that last night. I go, oh, I can't wait to ask about the diamond, because it was more
I had it drawn like this, but then you know, because yesterday we were like, okay, it's kind of breaking down. If you go in our chat room and look at the charts that we posted, but if we hold this low, then it's actually more symmetrical now. So it's,
I was going to say it turned into a cubic zirconium.
Well, you know, the thing about diamond, thing about like technical analysis, just in general, it's nothing's exact, and you have to make some adjustments. But because of that, if that does hold, which I think it's going to, I would actually be looking at, you know, currencies like the Aussie dollar. You know, the Aussie dollar is coming down to its 618. Now I know, Dale, you posted something on Twitter like it could sell off. You know, I'd just be a little cautious. Just in the reason why I say that is because if stocks do bounce the next couple of days, you'll probably drag up the Aussie with it. You got a 618
Yeah.
here, an ascending channel. So, but we are in no man's land. But being in no man's land, you can really, rip up higher a little bit. And what, something that hasn't pulled back is
At
the
all.
euro. I just got out of my euro longs, picked it up yesterday down here in the teens.
It's in a
And I
coma.
just kind of
That's
trading
an
in and out of
EKG
it.
of someone in a coma.
So it's kind of, it is a little bit of an EKG. Hey, since we got Stelios and Kman here, both of them.
I'm here as well.
Oh, and we have Steve. We have
Dr.
Sicky Steve's
Steve.
family. We have sicky people all over the place, but it's nice to have you here, Steve.
Thanks for your diagnosis today, Steve. It made me feel better.
I just gave
appreciate
you
it.
some facts.
I appreciate it, Doc.
Well, since we have some European crew here, this euro, it hasn't sold off. And if you're short the euro because you think that the dollar's got to rally for whatever reason, you believe that the dollar's got to rally, maybe there's some risk off, and you think that because the S&Ps are down here, the dollar's misplaced, the dollar should be higher, but it's not. And the euro's not lower. So what do you guys make of that? I mean, I think the risk is increasing, even though I just got out of my euro long and I just took like 30 pips off of it. I still think the risk is that it breaks higher. I still think that the risk is that we'll be sitting here sometime in the next 48 hours and this thing's just going to start popping through 107, and people are going to go, what the is happening here? And it's probably because, the longer it sits at these levels, the more at risk it is of just squeezing into the overarching trend, which happens to be higher. What do you guys think about the euro here, you European folks?
I agree with what you said.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
It actually looks like the inverse of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is consolidating sideways on a downtrend. This is the other way. I think I've said it before. I think the ECB's hawkish, at least for now, right? They've been hawkish, so this is going to give a support to the euro, definitely. Now against the dollar, I gun to my head, I think it's going higher, but I have this feeling that we're going, as I said before, I think early 2023 we're going to see yields rising, which means that, and risk off, which means that the dollar gets bid by default. That's my only worry about the euro dollar.
I like the confluence Blake has right there with the two moving averages around 103.5.
Well, that you know what that is that's a 50 crosses the 200, which is a golden cross.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
In the euro.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, golden cross in Europe.
I should
Okay.
probably tweet that because no one's looking at it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're literally that's what's about ready to happen. And once that happens, you'll get probably some systematic traders that come in and say, well, we're buying a euro because it's a golden cross. I mean, people actually do that, believe it or not. So yeah,
They work sometimes.
good. It does. I mean, it's definitely suggests that you should be buying dips in the euro.
Yeah.
Kman, you have any views here on the euro?
Well, that's what I said at the beginning of the show. I said I think euro is going to close the year stronger. We said it after the ECB catch-up move. So it's a bit logic, in my opinion, that euro dollar hangs around here where the rest of the dollars are correcting or trading a bit higher. I'm not so sure about the euro dollar, but if it breaks through 107 again, then we're going to talk about the big 108s. I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. Although I feel a little more comfortable with euro crosses than the euro dollar, because I'm not bearish. I'm not bearish dollars, not yet.
Got it. Well, I mean, you look at like the euro sterling. I mean, that thing's just. I thought I was a superstar selling mine at 87 and like a quarter or something when it broke this triangle higher after the ECB, and holy cow, this thing's just been scrambling higher, just squeezing everybody.
I admire the way
90,
Ryan
man.
holds. Yeah, I admire the way Ryan holds positions. Even though he has discipline to hold.
I'm gonna Dale.
What?
I gotta mention this, and this is really more for, as an American FX trader, we have a more difficult time, hanging
Holding.
on to longer term positions because they can hedge and trade.
You're right.
They could be long the euro sterling and take a smaller euro sterling short near term, capture some downside, and keep a core long position. As an American, we have, because of the FIFO rule, we can't do that. You have to open multiple accounts, which is possible, or you go into the funded trader, the trader funding program.
Oh, what a segue! You're really
then you can bypass all of that. So if you want to learn how to trade our money, by the way, I want to give a big congratulations to Richard yesterday, who passed an assessment, which we haven't had very many the last few days because we've had people that are not trading right now. But Richard passed yesterday $100,000 account. So congratulations. He'll be trading our money. So yeah, check out the trader funding program. I'll put a link in the description. You might as well do something good for you this year for New Year's. So there you go. But yeah, I think the Euro crosses do look good. Hey, Kman, since you're here, I want to ask you a little bit. And by the way, one of the things you guys get with your trader funding program is you're included in our community, and this means you have ideas. You're sitting in our chat room, and you can see I just took my euro dollar longs off. I brought it in the chat room. If you're in the trades room, you get to see all these trades that were taken, and there's Kman posting his trades. You'll notice I was short the euro, the Aussie yen since yesterday at 9.9075. Here in ForexAnalytix, I put in an Aussie yen short yesterday on the 28th because we hit the 618. And the reason why I want to talk to you about this, Kman, is because we saw, and here's the big rejection in the Aussie yen. So if you guys want to know why I was shorting it up there, this is the reason why. Previous support, 618 retracement. We came out of an ascending channel, so I just wanted to get short when we got up there. I shorted it yesterday, and I'm sitting in, about 100 pips in profit right now from yesterday. Now, Kman, you've seen the dollar yen rally back to
134.5.
Yeah, 134.5, and it exceeded previous support there. But we kind of like did a hey, while there's no liquidity, we're going to squeeze a little past that to the other previous support right over here before rolling over. What do you think about the buying yen here, knowing what you know from last year?
From last year?
I'm sorry, from last week.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm
half asleep still.
I'm a bit. I must admit that I'm not overly confident in trading yen, but the level on the 134.5 is one that I highlighted. What is it? When I came online briefly earlier in the week, so 134.5 is where we should be a bit careful with this. And it turned around. There's a lot of opinions now doing the rounds, whether it's the start of something new in the Bank of Japan, whether an old guy, Yamaguchi, now seems to be in the running as well. He's against the ultra easing monetary policy, but I think the yen reacted to it as well, seeing a lot of year-end flows. I think all in all, we have to just take it for face value because the bank did intervene twice in the JGB market overnight. To me, I'm rather range trading this than really picking a side right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we tried again on the top side first, dollar yen and perhaps some yen crosses, as euro yen is relatively bid on dips. Then in the new year we will see if we get. They're relatively early with their first meeting. I think it's already on the 18th of January, if I'm not mistaken. There might be some decent speculation in front of it, ahead of it, to to expect that they are going to relax a bit more, and that could be a big mover. I think it's on the 18th of January. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I meant to have seen that.
We'll definitely check that. Okay. So yeah, and I'll look while you're talking here. So
And don't forget that we bounced in the dollar yen right off the low that we saw before going to the 150, right in the 130.5 zone. That's a big one in my opinion. The 130.5 is going to be a very big psychological zone.
Yeah, and it's a huge support. I mean, this is like the major breakout points right here. And by the way, you are correct. It is and very well done. So it's January 18th. It'll be the 17th sometime that night for us here in North America, but for Asia, it's going to be the morning of the 18th. It's when the BOJ meets next. Yeah, really, I think that the yen is going to be one of the better trades of next year. And that's the one thing I want to echo what Kman said. I had an interview with who was it that I interviewed this last week, and they said the exact same thing. And I think that we are going to see a lot of volatility this year, and good volatility at that, because this is where we are all seeing central banks, get to the point where they're reaching their terminal rate, and we're going to start trying to understand which central bank is going to move first. And when they do, and when we figure that out, and when we get indications of it, we're going to be able to act on it. But more importantly, we're going to be able to see it coming, because we're going to be watching all the data. The data is going to be extremely important this year for us traders. And so I think that going back to the, when you go back to the economic calendar and you're like, okay, what's coming up later today, for FX traders, we've always done that. But I think a lot of people forgot to do that over the last 5 years, because it's been, you just kind of, don't even look at the data. You're just, what are central banks doing? But now we actually have to focus on what the data is, as it's breaking, how's it going to move the market, and how's it going to alter what central banks may or may not be thinking. So that's going to create a lot of volatility, which means a lot of opportunity for you guys. This is going to be a really good year for traders. I really do think. Steve, since we have you here, what are your thoughts as we head into the end of the week this week?
It's not easy to make assessments about what's going to happen in a week with these characteristics, right? Holidays and all. But in general, as I was saying yesterday on the Morning Edge, this is 1 year that I would not put my money on the Santa Claus wake effect. I think people should remain, a lot more cautious than they've been in the past. That's what I think.
Yeah, and you've been right. I mean, we haven't got it at all. We got a little pop. I think what was that, on Friday into Monday, and then
and it didn't last
sold
much.
off. And yeah, I mean, it's we haven't seen any type of rally in equities as far as, so you've been right, and we haven't seen it. So, but that doesn't mean that it can't come. Don't lose hope, folks. Dale, it might be here.
You know what? I was thinking about your last discussion about reaching terminal rates, and I would hypothesize that the BOE will be the first to shift, because they were the first to tighten. So that's, I'd have my eyeballs on the BOE for that shift to occur. Followed by us.
And Kman, are you still here?
I'm very much here.
Okay. What do you think about, the Bank of England, and by the way, we do have unemployment claims. Sorry. Let me just, we don't have a guest today. Do you, Dale?
No.
Okay, great.
Bank of England is a dovish Bank of England. I think Bailey doesn't have a grip on anything. So I'm not very positive, Sterling.
Okay. But let me
Well,
ask
that
you about
builds a
like the
case.
one thing that's happened this week is we've seen natural gas prices just come unhinged, unglued.
Yeah.
And we've seen it you know, we've seen it improve. I mean, as far as the you know, prices go, really hasn't had much of an effect on the UK all this winter weather. I mean, you know, do you think that's going to help? Sorry, unemployment claims came in as expected, so at 225,000, just so you guys can see that. That's the data flash that's included with ForexAnalytix. Anyway, what I wanted to say is, you know, wanted to ask you is that with this, you know, winter not being as bad as it is that going to be a tailwind for the?
Yeah, but it's everywhere the same, right?
What's that?
It's the same for everybody. I mean, it's the same everywhere. Well, perhaps in the States, not so, not. But if you look at the weather in pan Europe, let's put it that way. If you look at euro sterling, or so, if you look at the currency, I don't think that's going to be a tailwind specifically for what's happening in the sterling.
Okay, yeah, and so you're not necessarily bullish to sterling here.
No.
Okay, you know what's interesting about the cable? It's come off a little bit, and we're trading below the 200-day moving average. But I thought it'd be a little bit weaker, especially with the strength that we've seen in the euro sterling.
Yeah, but then against that you have what is it? Hunt, who is trying to keep the UK finances a bit in order, but on the other hand. If you look at the Brexit effect is still very much alive. There's a lot of companies who complain very much about how difficult it is to do business. So and Europe still being the or supposedly being the first economic partner for the UK, it's still very, very difficult on that side. And then yeah. No, I'm just not very positive for the sterling. I think next year could be actually a tough one for the UK.
Okay. Thank you for your comments there. Stel, Steve, have you guys seen a big shift in Athens, Greece, like from you know, your costs?
Costs, yeah. I mean, electricity's gone up a lot. Yeah. But like you said, we have very, very mild weather here, so but gas prices are actually not affecting us yet. Natural gas, I mean. So, but yeah, obviously we've seen a huge increase in energy costs overall.
Well, here in the U.S., it has been we got some nasty Arctic blast that came through. Now it's hitting me right now, but I mean, you know, I actually have to wear socks today. That's how bad it's affecting
my God.
me. I know. I'm gonna have to put on socks and shoes. But you know, as far as the rest of the United States,
things are really tough.
Hard. Yeah, it'll be. I guess it's something that we should be watching is nat gas and how and somebody did remind me earlier this week when we had this conversation that it is only December and winter just started. So right. We still could have some weather to come. Well, before we sign off today, Dale, Kman, Steve, Stelios, you guys have any last minute thoughts? For me, I just think that risk could bounce from the S&P here. I think we're going to see a bounce, you know, back towards maybe 3850. I don't know if I would, you know, be thinking that we're going to rip into new highs going into this remainder of this week, but I think we could definitely see up here again. Shouldn't be much of an issue. What do you guys, any last minute thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm hoping you're right, Blake, and we get a little risk on here into next week. And I think I'm going to buy some time and some VIX calls.
Ooh, VIX calls.
Yeah, right. I just wanted to add, I still think today and tomorrow, so the last 2 trading days of the year, should be theoretically not anything spectacular, but I would definitely not want to be long risk on the 3rd, going into the 3rd of January. I have this feeling that
why
the market's just gonna.
Why the 3rd?
Because the first day of the year.
By the
Yeah.
way, we will not be broadcasting. Thanks for reminding me, Stelios.
Yeah.
We will
Monday.
not be broadcasting Monday the 2nd. It is an observed bank holiday. That's, so you can actually be extra hungover for New Year's.
Oh,
Nice.
great.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean you can, but so you wouldn't want to be long going into the 3rd. That's the first day that the equity markets are open.
Yes.
You really are that fearful of that first day.
I really think, I'm very fearful of that, of the first week of January, let's say. So I would definitely not want to be long going into that. Just my humble opinion, as always.
All right. Kman, you have any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, I think Euro closes the year on a positive tone, and then we will see what happens next.
And you said the euro will, but not necessarily Europe, but the euro will. I mean, the euro looks
to be the case, right? Looking
Yeah.
at it, coming back to the markets, we're trading at relative highs in the euro versus quite a few things. Again, not against emerging markets. I don't know what happened on Rand or MEX or so, but yeah, for the rest, the euro is behaving pretty well.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the euro does look. I mean, could you imagine we close? Let's. I mean, if we look at a monthly chart, I mean, it is really, been an ugly year for the euro, but we can end up the end of the month, on a much stronger note. So, the thing about all the people that are targeting when we were down below parity, how many people were targeting, down to the 80-cent level, in the euro. So just goes to show you, man, things can change. Well, Dale, I want to say, I think we can pass it back over to you and wrap this show up since you don't have a guest today, but we will be here tomorrow morning. Yeah. So hope to see you all then.
I'd like to close with saying that people need to take a step going into 2023. And whether it's with us or someone else, you need to take a step to make the change from what happened last year. And you guys know I'm not exactly objective. I think this is a great place, no matter what your trading level is, to get better. And so that's my advice. I know you probably think it's a pitch, but it's something I really believe in. It's almost like you have to speak it out loud. You have to take an action to get things to start rolling in a different direction. So if you haven't been with us before, try it now because it's never been better. And I've been here pretty much since the beginning.
You've been, you were here literally almost from, pretty much from day one. Once
6 months.
we after we built ForexAnalytix and we were launching it. So
yeah. And then came up with the name F.A.C.E. So
F.A.C.E, that's right.
F.A.C.E. So F.A.C.E is great. Take it a step further. If F.A.C.E helped you, imagine what it's like to be in the room with Kman and Blake and Stel and Steve and Ryan. Some people pay a lot of money just for a trade copier. Here you have like diverse, very good traders. So that's how I want to leave it. And then maybe you'll be able to say this with more conviction. You won't just be counting your pips, you'll be counting your blessings. So we'll see you to wrap up the year tomorrow. Best team on the net. Great being with you guys. It's like, even when I'm sick, I would miss not being here. So
best coach on the net. There you go.
Best coach on the net.
So
thanks for being here every day, Coach.
Yeah. So someone raise their hand and say they're going to take an action today and join before I say goodbye. Anyone? Anyone taking the step? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Do it. We'll see you there.
Chambers. All right. You'll consider it, Tony, with all the money you risk in the market, you need to be here. Okay.
Come hang with us, Tony.
All right. So we got one to declare and commit. I consider that a victory. All right. So see you guys tomorrow, Blake, Stel, Steve. Kman, if you're still here, you probably won't be. Happy New Year, brother.
Oh yeah, we'll wish that after New Year. We always do it in the New Year, in where I come from anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm never against wishing good
Best
things.
coach, have a perfect end of year.
All right. Adios, everyone. See you guys.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye bye,
Coach.
all.
See ya. Okay, Monica.